So if you have questions around what are the mistakes I should avoid whenever I have to do a government job or a private job assessment or assignment, or if you have questions around how should I be approaching assignments or assessments during job applications, or things around what resources you should be using whenever you have to do a government job assignment and what instructions you should be following, make sure you watch this video to the end. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. First of all, let's talk about what generally you should expect when you're applying for a job and it has an assessment or assignment component. So normally you would get a hint on what the assignment or assessment would be about when you read the job profile. So for example, if you're reading a job profile and part of the roles is that you have to write things like briefing notes, you have to compile presentations or write some type of document or response to correspondence, you can tell from that job description that your assignment or assessment would have to do with one of those. And that's because the assignment or assessment are usually framed in a way where you would actually be doing tasks that you'll have to do at the job. And in some cases, depending on the organization that you're applying to, you can actually get an idea from, their website. So you could just Google their name and, assignment or assessment, and you would come across things like Reddit threads or, just people who have generally talked about their assignments, or even the organization may have tips on their website. So that's something that you should always look out for. So let's go on to mistakes. And let's start with a very simple one, which I've seen many people flop over and over again, is follow the instructions. So whenever you receive an email that you've been given an assessment, please go through that email immediately, because you want to make sure that you understand everything that's been said so that you can ask for clarification on time. But in the case where you leave it to the last minute and you find out that you actually do not understand what is being requested of you, you end up looking very unserious. So immediately you get that email with the instructions, please go through over and over again to make sure you understand what's being asked. Another thing is pay attention to the details. In some cases, you haven't provided details in terms of how the file should be named, how your personal details should be included in the file, or if it should be included, the email response, what should be contained in the email response, the subject, who to send the completed assignments to. So make sure you're paying attention to all of this, because doing the wrong thing can easily just get you disqualified. One of the mistakes that I've seen people make in terms of not following instructions is, you get sent an email and they ask you to respond with your completed assignments by a particular deadline to another email. And they end up sending the completed assignments to the email which originally sent them the assignments to complete. If you're given formats or templates to use, or writing formats to use, or writing guides to use, please use them. Do not assume that you know what you should be using. If you're given a particular template, do not change the template. Use it as it is, because again, they're also testing your ability to pay attention to details and to follow instructions. Something as simple as using the wrong font or using the wrong margins or not sticking to the required number length of pages or the required spacing can get you disqualified. So it's important that you pay attention to those minute details. Another angle that I've seen where people make lots of mistakes is them not being able to decipher what their assignment is about. So you get sent an assignment and it's a paragraph that explains what they expect you to do. So for example, you have to produce a particular document that addresses a particular scope of work. And there are lots of things that are included in that scope. So sometimes you may end up answering some part of the scope of the questions and not others. And so one thing I would recommend is whenever you receive assignments, try and break it down in bullet points for your own personal use. Break down the assignment into different parts, or the particular scope or the question that they're asking you to answer into different parts, and make sure that you're answering each of those parts in the written assignment. Do not rush to just submit assignments without actually thinking about the quality of the work that you're putting in. If you're given 3 days to do the assignment, use the 3 days to do the assignment. And of course, take note of the deadline, because once you submit after the deadline, your assignment would not be considered. Talk about resources that you should be using when you get this assignment or assessment. So for government jobs, you want to look through the ministry website. If the branch has a website or the division has a website, you want to go through those. You want to go through their mission, their vision. You want to go through the minister mandates letter for that ministry. You also want to go through the service plans. You also want to go through any recent news. So any news that's related to that ministry or the work that they do or the branch or the division and the work that they do. And usually you would find this online. Government website will have a dedicated page where they put their news publications and then use the search bar in the government website to actually search for whatever you're looking for, either policies, legislation, regulation, or news. So most of these resources, the policies, the regulations, the legislation, mission values, using keywords of the branch, the ministry, or whatever, and adding the appropriate thing that you're looking for on Google, you would get search results and you'll be able to find what you're looking for. You want to go through these materials because these are the materials that you'll be using when you're on the job. So these materials would give you a more rounded picture of, how you should frame your answers. Can relate, ongoing work within the ministry, the division, or the branch to what's required for you in your assignment. You also want to make sure that you're using correct grammar because assignments are one way to also test your written or your oral communication skills. So make sure that you're using good formatting, you're using clear and concise language, using English that is easy to understand, concise to the point. And something else that you should also relate to is that the competencies in a job profile, they are also using the assignment as a means to test them. Generally, the more you do something, the more you get better at it. So the more assignment or assessment you do, the better you get. So do not shy away or feel bad when you're not passing assignment or assessment. Take each assignment or assessment as a learning experience where you are building yourself and getting used to the process. And of course, if you're applying for certain types of jobs, it also gives you an idea of, what common assessment or assignments that you should expect. Feedback is a very important tool in this process. So if you apply for a job and you get notified that you did not go through after doing your assignment or assessment, please always ask for feedback. It'll be a simple email to the hiring manager explaining that you would like to get some feedback on your assignment or assessment so you know where to improve. Remember, each assessment is a good learning experience. So if you pass your assessment or assignment, the next stage is usually the job interview. And so you do not want to miss my next video because in that video, I will be breaking down how you should be approaching interview questions and how you can prepare for the interviews. I would also be providing you with example questions based on different job competencies and behavioral competencies. Do not miss it and like, share, and subscribe.